Hello there, and welcome to my shop, such as it is. I am so fucking annoyed with myself right now. As I mentioned in the other video, I needed to make a cart for my new to me scroll saw, and I came up with an idea for something that was fancy, that had shapely legs on it, and it was a total clusterfuck and didn't work. But I still needed a cart for this. So I slapped together with some wood that I had something in 20 minutes, and in that 20 minutes, I came up with a cart that was far more elegant and useful than the one I had initially done, which I'm really annoyed at myself for. But this is a really good idea. But like I said, I slapped it together. Things aren't quite square with it, it's a little wobbly and everything. So I'm going to rebuild this and I'm going to add a little bit of functionality into it. And that's what we're going to do today. So let me give you a quick close-up and I'll let you know why I decided to do this. So after I had this thing put together and everything mounted on it, I got some new saw blades in for the scroll saw. And I wanted a place to put them where they'd be near the saw. And it occurred to me that I could throw a couple blocks in here and just make like a little handy shelf to go right in there. And then I realized if I could do that, I could make slots all the way down and basically do shelves all the way down. And yeah, this is stable. Well, it's not stable, it's wobbly, but anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebuild this out of 1/2-inch thick plywood. I'm going to try and salvage as much of this pine board as I can, although it's glued together, so I don't know how much I'll be able to get off of that. I'm basically going to do it with, this is like a 10 by 18 top. I'm going to do this. These are 9 by, I think, 30 I did. It's a little bit higher, so I'll probably go with like 9 by 24. For the base, I'm going to lap together some 2x4, and I'm going to put these casters on that. And then what I want to do is I want to use the router to make a couple of grooves to slot that into, and I'll make a long, well, I don't know if they'd be grooves or dados. Probably grooves, because it'll probably be running lengthwise down the plywood. And then I'll make a little T section. I'll make a groove and a T dado coming off of that. I'll make dados to go up in this, and I'm going to cut dados all the way down the sides of this, about a 1/4 inch deep. So I'll be able to use some 1/4 inch plywood to make some slot-in shelves or drawers, and that'll make it useful. So here we go. Okay, first things first, we got to pull this thing apart. Drilled a couple of holes. I had to pick up some new hex wrenches to be able to loosen the blade up here, because the ones that came with it were missing. I also need to replace, there's a little piece of tubing, and I don't know what I did with the one that came with it, but I'll be able to figure something out that runs from here down to here. And what it does is like a little bellows in here, so it puffs air over the work area and blows the sawdust away, which is a really clever idea. And of course, we're going to make card storage. So these are 13 millimeter or 1/2 inch, I think. The lags that I threw in here, probably 1/2 inch. The 13 feels a little sloppy. A lot of woodworking stuff is in imperial as opposed to metric, although having spent years in the automotive industry, I'm fairly fluent in both. I know that 1/2 inch and 13 millimeter are about the same. I know that 9/16 and 14 millimeter are about the same. That's probably most of them that I know off the top of my head. See, I don't think these are, these aren't in there super tight, but they're just there to hold the cord up in place. I'm definitely going to reinstall these or something like them just to give something to wrap the cord around. I figured out with my, I don't remember what I first used something like this for, but it's very handy to have. What I'm saying. All right. We can just set that all right up there for now. Where are we going to put this? I think we'll probably drop this on top of the toolbox for right now. Let's just get everything else out of the way. Actually, I probably should put these blades in a drawer so I don't lose them. This thing is pretty weighty, but most tools like this are, so. There we go. All right, now cordless drill. I don't know how many screws I'm actually going to use on the new one. I don't think I'll need to use as many. I mean, really, if I glue it up, the weight of the saw just sitting on top of this should hold it pretty much in place. Oh, this screwdriver bit sucks. Screws keep binding to it. I mean, a really good screwdriver bit should get good purchase on the screw, but let go of it when you're done with it. All right. Time to remove the top. Oh, that was easy. Oh, we took off some wood here, which is what I expected to happen. All right. It's a little chewed up, but it's still usable. We'll throw it over in the mini scraps or the medium scraps pile, the offcuts pile. There's the scraps pile that I might still find useful. All right. This is not going to be the one that I'm going to use. That was just like an experiment. A proof of concept, you might say. As you can see, I didn't exactly use quality wood for it. I'm pulling out the screws, not necessarily to disassemble this, but to save the screws, to reuse them. I know it sounds kind of like a cheap thing to do, but it's not like I feel like I need to, but why throw away perfectly good screws, is what I'm saying. Put my decoration back up over here. Wow, this bit sucks. It's going right in the trash. I have no patience for crappy screwdriver bits. I really, really do not. Oh, great. And it stripped out the screw. Ah! I know this is an interruption, but I can't just let this sit. going to annoy me with this flopping around and this chewed up screw in here. Just want to get this out. Get a fresh screw in there. I don't know if you can even see what I'm doing. This is the handle off the cheap ass plane that I purchased, that I replaced with my custom handle. I think some of that's in a video somewhere. But I have this lovely old Stanley Type 5, sorry, number 5 Type 15, I believe. 15 or possibly 16. I think it's a Type 15 with some replacement parts that I'm working on restoring right now. And I definitely will put that in a video, but the handle on it is just absolutely destroyed, as you can see. And there's a big crack in it. So I picked up a piece of Caribbean rosewood, which is not a true rosewood. The handles on the old Stanleys were made of rosewood. And the Caribbean rosewood is, like I said, it's not a true rosewood, but it is close enough for me. So I'm going to make a new handle for that out of the rosewood, and I probably will put that in a video. Since I made the handle for my cheap one, I'm feeling reasonably confident that I can make a functional replacement for the vintage one. And the vintage one is in rough shape. So I'm not trying to restore it like to original factory condition, to like a collectible condition. I don't think there's any point in that. It's just way too far gone. And I want to have it as a functional plane. So I'm restoring it to functional condition is what I'm doing. Okay, sorry about the interruption. Now I feel better. Let's finish disassembling this. Whoa, careful there. Probably ought to have some gloves on for this part because of the splintery bits up here, but what the hell? Let's live dangerously, right? Wow. The glue is beast. Let's get this side out of the way. Come on, get in there. See, this bit is much better. It's a good purchase on the screw, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. Ta-da! Yeah, I mean, there's salvageable wood in here, but not for like this whole big, well, maybe I can. Yeah, it needs to be surfaced, but I can probably use it for something. Ha! Forgot I put screws on the bottom too. Would have helped if I had taken those out first. But you know, a good swift hammer blow fixes a world of troubles. Like that. All right, this piece goes in the offcuts pile. I mean, it's just pine. It's not like it's expensive wood. I mean, it wasn't free either, which is why I'm not just throwing it away. Go. All right, let's take the screws out of this side now. This time I'll remember to take the screws off the bottom before I try and separate that. I had a brief thought in there and I can't remember what it is now. All right, now I'm going to get my gloves because I need to lift this thing up. And I don't want to get splinters or cut my hands open or anything. So a little bit of gloving isn't going to hurt. Here we go. All right. Our wheels off. This base piece I'm probably just going to throw away. I don't think it's worth hanging on to. It's a mess. I was trying to joint two pieces together to make them wide enough, and it really went badly wrong. Now it's all shredded, so that I think I'm just going to trash. Oops. Come on. Here we go. Okay. Those. I'll just take these two wheels off. Finish breaking this apart and then move on to building the new one. See, what I was thinking was they might have to add some diamond flares on the bottom to help keep the whole thing stable, but this is kind of feeling stable as it is, so I don't know if I need to do that or not. If I remember right, these side pieces are like 10 inches across. If they are, and I think I can just, you know, I'm just going to build it with straight sides. And then if I'm finding that it's still feeling a little wobbly, I can always add the flying buttresses later if I need to. Those don't need to be part of the main assembly. Bolt them on afterwards. That's what I wanted to do. To check and see, to double check myself on how wide these are. 11 inches, a little over 11 inches. Oh, I missed a screw. I would explain in part why that didn't want to separate. Yeah, that's garbage. This is offcuts. Let's get the big thwacker out. There we go. The right tool for the right job. Nothing like a little sledgehammer destruction to make for a satisfying afternoon. Yeah, that's still, as you can see, as is typical, the glue bond is stronger than the wood bond. So that's going to take some cutting up and cleaning up to be able to use, but it's a large enough piece that I think it's worth it. That one, not so much. Okay. Step 1, disassembly is complete. Step 2, 2x4. Get one of these thickers out of here. Oh. Ooh. Don't spill. My pile of wood is about to go everywhere. You can't see it because it's behind the camera, but trust me, it is on the eve of destruction here. There we go. Much better. I will someday have to figure out some better wood storage. Oh, here's the red, the rosewood that I got to do that handle. Very pretty stuff. Not a true rosewood, but close enough for me. All right. Here is my 2x4. So what I want to do is cut off a length of how much I want to use. And then I want to square up the rounded corners, cut it to the appropriate length, and then lap the ends together. So how big do I want this base to be? It needs to be at least 18 inches in one direction. Actually, 19 inches. There's another hole back there. So it needs to be at least 19 inches long, or 19 inches wide. So roughly there. Roughly there. Don't care if it's not pretty. Stand is 9, so it's 9. The base of the drill saw, it's like 9. So let's try 19 by 10. I mean, we could do 19 by 19. How wide was this one? That one's 17. Yeah, let's go 19 by 19. We'll just make it square all the way around. Let's make it a square base. All right, so shoot. I just dropped my pencil behind my desk, behind my workbench. Luckily, I have more pencils. I think this would be a good opportunity to use the new circular saw that I just got. I retired the old one because it was, I was getting tired. It was not working as well. Oh yeah, this is I have so many projects going on. This is the blade arbor wrench from my table saw. But grabbing this metal end just feels a little sketchy, especially with your hand down by the blade. Not that the blade is powered up, but I'm worried about my hand slipping. So got a little bit of this here mahogany, and I'm going to make a handle for it. But that's not for today. All right. Let's get our safety equipment out. Mask, goggles, ear protection, and the new saw. This is the first time I'm going to be using this. So exciting, you can do it with me. So I'm going to intentionally cut a little proud of these marks. I'm going to make the pieces longer than they need to be. Let's see. Oh. All right, that's loose already. Be a little bit deeper than that. Here. Not so deep that it's going to be. Just go. I got to learn to do this by feel. Okay, that's cutting all the way through. So I'm going to cut them a little long, and then I'll do finish cuts on the table saw, I think. Use the, I can use my crosscut sled for that, to trim the edges up and make them all exactly the same. Like butter. Hey, why did I do that? I have one more cut to make. Now we're done with the circular saw. I can raise this up a little bit, try and show you the bench and my dumb ass face at the same time. All right, so I cut most of this stuff off with a live edge there. Not that that's going to make a big difference. Goes in the off-cut pile. I mean, this one still has a bit of live edge on it, but it's not really going to affect this. All right, so first thing we want to do is we want to rip those faces. This is my router rig. See, I've got a lot of stuff that doesn't have a permanent home yet. That's not good. I'm going to be working on that. That's yet another project that you're going to see. It's I'm going to make me a ready table that will have all of the things on it that I reach for very regularly, very frequently. So it'll have my squares on it. It'll have my random orbit sander and a stock of sandpaper. I might put a bunch of clamps on it. Stuff like that. All right, so we are going to rip. So we want to take the crosscut sled off for right now. Drop the rib fence on. Hook up the vacuum for the dust collection, such as it is. That's yet another project. Improving this dust collection. It's not as good as I need it to be. Specifically right now, the vacuum just gets filled up much too fast. So I want to put like large particle collection, which I got one of these things that just goes right on top of a bucket. So the air comes in and then the heavy particles should fall out. It's not the world's greatest dust separator, but it's more than nothing. And hopefully it'll extend the life of the vacuum. Or not the life of the vacuum, but it'll extend how much vacuuming I can do before I need to empty it. That's what I need to say. All right. Oh, I think this is a new blade. Yes. This is a brand new blade. Haven't even used it yet. So what we want to do, just want to rip off enough so that we have a clean, flat edge. So I'm thinking like maybe right to there. Oops. How does that look? That looks pretty good. Need the blade up just a little bit higher. All right. So I'll be able to rip them all on one side, and then I'll have to adjust the fence and rip them on the other side. Can you see the saw? Let me angle this a little bit so you can see the saw. Still not plugged in yet? All right, dust collection on. Plugged in. We'll stick at the ready. Okay. These aren't really useful for anything, I don't think. They look kind of cool. I like them. I don't know. Maybe I can use that in a decorative way somehow. All right, now that these are all fleshed up, I was gonna do the top and bottoms, but I don't think I need to. I think that's kind of a waste. But now that I've got them all ripped to a nice size, we're gonna cross cut to get them all to exactly the same length. I'm gonna vacuum that all up. I just wanted a nice clean surface for the table. For the rip sled. Not the rip sled, the crosscut sled. All right. Set our blade height. Let's clear the teeth. All right, so I'm going to start just by trimming each edge. Make sure I've got at least one square side. And then from there, we'll use a stop block or something. I don't know. Okay, now, what is the best way to approach this other cut? So we're going to start by looking at how long they are, and none of these can be longer than the shortest one, pretty obviously, which is this shorty over here. That's the finished end down there. So none of them are going to be longer than that. So I can start just by trimming this end lightly. These are wet. I mean, they have a lot of moisture content. If I wasn't using this for something I'm building in the shop, I would really have to let these dry out for a while before I start cutting them up. It slogs down the blade a little bit, but it also means that eventually they're going to flex as they dry. So that could cause a problem going forward. I don't know. Take a peek and see how square we're cutting. Do I have my square floating around here? I toss it back in the drawer. Just a little one. You know, that's pretty good as far as I'm concerned. One looks to be about the same. About this way. Off by a smidge this way. But you know, that could be because this surface is not quite even. Because I didn't finish that surface up. So, yeah, it might be some evenness along here that I didn't true up. but the surfaces that I did cut are looking good. I mean, it's a minor variance. It's nothing that's going to interfere with what I'm doing here. Now, how can I make sure all of these are exactly the same length as this one? I mean, exactly the same length. I mean, my first thought is a stop block. But I don't think that's really going to work in this situation because I don't have anything long enough to stop block off the far end of that. They hang too far over. I suppose I could just use the marking gauge. I mean, this doesn't have to be super precision, but I really want to work on making sure things are really precise. Oh, these ends aren't perfectly square either. So I can't use this. They're not perfectly square because I cut them with the circular saw and I wasn't trying to be perfectly square with it. So we'll use the, I know a lot of people use a marking knife. I've got the Scribe here that I think works well. I can see that. Just barely. Make that stand out a little bit more. I probably should get a marking knife. I'll have to look into that. There's probably a way for me to actually use a stop block or something to achieve this, but I just can't think of it off the top of my head right now. So I'm going to go with what I can do. Just try and be really, really accurate with it. Okay. So we've got nice clear markings on all of those where I need to cut. I need to make sure the kerf of the blade stays on the waist side of the cut. I don't know if waist side is like an official term or not, but it's what I'm going with right now. Sounds like something you'd say, right? The waist side. Since that's the side you're going to be throwing away. It's the side you want to get rid of. Waste not, want not. It is unplugged right now. It's good to double check that. All right. That one looks square. That looks good. That looks... This is just a hair longer, but I mean, we're talking maybe a 32nd of an inch, which is, that's plenty of a margin on this. Okay, they're all pretty good. Except for the one I undercut, they're all like within a 32nd of an inch. This one's like 16th. Gonna bug me. Gonna bug me. Ah. It's almost 3/32 lower than the tallest one. Which is really going to annoy the shit out of me. All right, I have to try and trim them all to this one. So damn close. I genuinely don't think it will matter for what I'm doing, but I really, really need to chase that brass ring right now. If I can do it right on this, then I can do it right on a more important project, right? That's the whole point of this, is to learn how to be more precise. And 3/32 of an inch is not precise enough for me right now. Right in this moment, that is too sloppy. All right. I think I'm on or just a hair long on that. If it's just a hair long, I can always go back and finish it up a little bit. So that's what you want to do. You want to overcut and then creep up. Or cut a little short and then creep up. You know what? If it takes me 4 or 5 passes or 6 passes to get it spot on right now, that's fine. As I learn, as I grow, as I practice, maybe I'll be able to do it in 2 or 3 passes. If it takes 8 passes now, I'll do it in 8. The whole point is getting it right. That's what matters. I like these little wedge cutoffs too. I don't know. I feel like they're, ooh, look at that. Look at the light shine through that. Very cool, huh? I feel like they're useful for something, but I can tell you right now, this is, it dries out, it's going to warp like crazy because I did that. I had some other cutoffs. Let's see if yeah, look at that one. I mean, this one's a lot thinner, but that is potato chip country. The thicker ones don't warp as much. Like, I really feel like this is useful for something. I don't know what yet, but it's going in the box. All right. I now have 4 pieces that are exactly the same height or length and exactly the same width and nice and square. Now we need to lap the ends. So 2 are going to be like that. 2 are going to be like that. These 2 are going to be the bottom ones. No, I'm going to put the live edge ones up. Not for any decorative reason, but because I want the bottom ones to be the more square ones. Put the live edges out. So bottom, bottom, upper, upper. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And this will attach to 4. This will attach to 4. This will attach to 2. And this will attach to 2. I have a few different ways I can do this. I'm going to have to make 2 cuts. I'm going to have to make a cut like this, and then I'm going to have to make another cut like that. This cut is easy. I can just mark the distance and run it through the table saw. This one's a little bit different. I can't do this one on the table. Well, I shouldn't do this one on the table saw because I don't have a proper jig for it. If you have a jig, you can make this kind of a cut. If you have a jig that will stabilize your piece, I don't yet. I haven't made one. And trying to run this through on the table saw like this is really dangerous. And I don't want to be stupid. Despite the fact that I am stupid. Let's start by making these cuts. So the other way I can do this is after I make this cut, I can make a bunch of passes along here. Zoop, 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 zoop like that, and then clean it out with the chisel. Or I could try using a handsaw and cutting down like that. I think I want to try and handsaw at least one of these. So I want to set the table saw for half. These should all be the same thickness, right? Or very close to the same. Pretty damn close. Maybe not perfect, but very, very, very close. So let's take one with no live edge, nice and square, and let's see if we can find half the depth of this. I don't know how long these are now. They should be very close to 19, maybe a touch under. Oh, just barely. Let's see, 19 3/4, 6 8 7, 15 16ths. No, 13 16ths. 18 and 13 16ths. All right, his thickness, almost exactly 1.5. Pretty damn close. So if we set our blade depth to 3/4 from the surface of the sled, we're unplugged. And for this, I'm going to use my gauge blocks. Got a 3/4 one right here. So we put that on this side of the sled, and then we crank the blade down. We're unplugged, just making sure because my hand is touching the blade. What we could do is bring that down until the highest tooth is parallel the top of that gauge block. I think that's that. Let me try using another block here to confirm it. It's a little too bulky. No, it's just touching. All right. That's good. I think that's as precise as I need it to be. Okay, that's the depth of the cut. Now we need to know how far down in we're going, and for that, 2424. For that, I want to actually measure for each piece of wood itself. Now, I need to go. Yes, so I need to go that full length. So I'll mark this here. Oops. That's where piece 4 is going to go. Oh no, that's where piece 1 is going to go. This is where piece 4 is going to go. Get these square to each other. That's where piece 3 is going to go. Where piece 4 is going to go. I know this is kind of tedious, but that's where piece 3 is going to go. Get a good mark there. That's where piece 2 is going to go. That's where piece 1 is going to go. And that's where piece 2 is going to go. Okay. So now I have my marking lines. Now I think I want to, I may be doing more steps than I need. But what I want to do is make sure these lines are square and then translate them all the way around. So I'll be able to see them when I make the cut. So I want a visible line on the opposite side of where I'm making the cut is what I'm saying. See what I mean? That way I will be sure. Gotta go back to the ship and nuke them from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. See, this is a moment where I feel like my tendency is to rush right now, because this is kind of a little more tedious. But what's really important is to not rush right now. Take my time and do it right. Right? It's going to take me a few minutes to go around and mark all of these. But I'm going to take that few minutes and I'm going to go around and I'm going to mark all of them. I'm flipping this around because I've got that live edge to deal with here. And that way I can make sure it's done properly. Right? Because this isn't exciting. This isn't creative or clever. This is a little tedious. But that's okay. It's okay to let tedious things be tedious. It's just how life is. It's just going to happen sometimes. But in this case, it really matters to me. You get it right. Because if I can get it right on the little thing, then I'll be able to get it right on the important things. Like in the grand scheme of things, for what I'm going to be doing with this, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect. I mean, I want it to be square, right? But if the joints are a little sloppy or whatever, it's not going to make it not usable. But that's really not the point, is it? The point is, I want to put full effort into everything. So when it comes time to doing the things that I want to be really, really nice, and I want to get paid for, or to be able to sell at any rate, then I'll have those skills to be able to do those right. It's dress rehearsal here, as they say. Yeah, these unfinished faces are a little off. Some of them. The actual cuts I've made are square, but the part that I didn't is not quite square. Which the variance is tiny, and that I'm not going to worry about here. What I really need to make that right is probably a jointer. Or, you know, the before jointers existed equivalent process. I saw how you can do that on a table saw with an extended sled or an extended rip fence that's actually longer than the pieces that you're working on. So the high, you'll be able to support both high points essentially. All right, so let's put these back. Three, 1, 2. 2's down here. No, 2's up there. 4 is down here. That's 3 and that's 1. Right? This is 4. It's 1. It's 2. It's 1. It's 3. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. Okay. So let's start with number 1. We'll start with this number 1 4 cut. I'm going to mark a giant X on the sides that I want cut out, so I don't accidentally cut the top of the one where I want to cut the bottom. All right. So I'm going to set this so the kerf is just inside that line. And let's make that cut. I might make the multiple passes on this one. I don't know. Let me think about it. I really want to try and hand cut this other one. I mean, for one, it'll be faster than trying to do it on the saw, because I'll just have to make one cut straight down. Without I have to zip, 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 and then clean it up, which is, you know, it's a viable strategy. And whatever I do, it's okay to go a little bit undersized, because I can always clean it up with a chisel later. It's tricky to get it square here. So let's do it that way, so we have more surface to work with. Yay! We did it. So what I want to do is score this. I want to score this so I have a track for the saw to follow. So hopefully that will stop the grain from no. I'm a little worried that I'm going to fuck this up, but you know what? If I do, I do. The whole point of doing this now is Wow. Wow, that one, oh, there's a knot there. That's why it's trying to force my line off. See, that's the thing. If there's a knot there and the grain is trying to push my scribe out, it's also going to try and move my saw. All right, let's move this out of the way for the moment. Actually, I want to come across the top here as well. Well, it's a little more challenging because we don't have that nice square edging. All right. Wish me luck. Now, what's the best way? I need to get an adapter for the vise sort of thingy so it doesn't shift. I was reading or actually watching a video about that, how these vices can shift because of how they grip. And how they can not hold things tightly. How they can sometimes not hold things tightly. Okay, rock steady. I have two saws. I have my general purpose, really crosscut saw. I have my lovely Japanese saw, although this one has been wandering on me lately. I don't know if the blade's out of true. Can't tell. Anyway, this has a crosscut. I mean, this has a rip edge on it. So let's start with that. So, you know what? Chisel. I can chisel out my mark here a little bit. That will give the saw something more to bite into. Kind of start the cut, as it were. The way to do this more quickly and efficiently is to use a dado, which, if you don't know, is like a stack of circular saw blades mooshed together. I don't have a dado, and I don't think that saw could handle a dado. So we are left to do it other ways. Okay. Let's go easy, let the saw do the work. Focus on keeping the cut nice and straight. I do have the rip side in there, yes? Yes. It's It's pulling my piece to the side. Why is it doing that? Nope, you stay there. You stay there. See, that just is not, you know what? The other thing I need to do is I need to put some wood faces on this. It should have those. I'll add it to the to-do list. It's drifting. I don't know if it's me or if it's the saw, but every time I've tried to cut with it lately, it wants to drift. All right, let's see if we can correct with this one. I'm cutting too deep. Ah! My kerf is right on the line. The kerf should be inside the line on the waist side. This one's going to be off by about 1/16 of an inch. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. All right. Oof. That looks rough. That looks super rough. Ugh. Lee. And it looks, especially on this side, like it didn't stay square. Although it didn't stay square in the best possible direction. So I think we can clean it up with a chisel. But for now, I'm going to do the rest of the cuts on the table saw the slow way. Or maybe this was the slow way. I don't know. Don't hand behind the chisel, not in front of the chisel. Unless you really want to put a chisel through your hand, which I really don't want to do. Really, really don't want to do that. It would make for a very bad day. I can live without that kind of a bad day. So hand behind the chisel always. This one's going to be rough. There's no way around it. Just is going to be rough. There's also a knot right in there. It's okay though. It's okay for this one to be a little rough because this is a learning process. This is a learning experience for all of us. Ish. All right. Now let's get the table saw out and do it the slow way. But in the long run, it's going to be the more accurate way, the better way. It's going to give me cleaner, sharper faces. It's going to give me way more square faces, that's for sure. Well, as you can see, that is tedious, time-consuming, and very, very messy. It's really not a great solution. It's a solution, but it's not really a great solution for making those kinds of cuts. I'm going to vacuum this up in a minute, but I want to see now I can just clean these up with the chisel, because you get sometimes you get like little ridges and stand-ups. So you just need to clean that up afterwards. Just really not a big deal. Just a quick pass with a chisel or maybe some sandpaper. I am not going to be getting a dado blade or a table saw that can handle a dado blade anytime soon, which is really the best way to make these kinds of cuts. So what I think I'm going to have to do is build myself a jig to let me make end cuts on long pieces like this. It really just needs to be something that supports them properly so they don't tend to tip like that, because that's when things get dangerous. So I need to do that. And that'll be able to handle end cuts like this. If I need to do cuts in the middle of a piece, I'm still largely stuck doing it that way, except for I could also potentially use a router to do those. Which I have the routers. I've got a trim router and a Craftsman router. So those are certainly an option, but I don't really have a good router table, which is what I need to be able to make those kinds of cuts. And honestly, a router table is something I can build. Do not drop the chisel into your foot, whatever you do. So I think between building an upright jig and building myself a router table, I'll be able to do these a little more sanely. All right, this is 3. This is 4. This is 2. This is 1. So let's clear some of this junk out of the way. This is going to be at least a 2-part project videos. It's almost dinner time, so I'm going to end this one in a few minutes. I don't think I'm going to... Oh, I was about to attach these together, but I realized I want to route my gaps first. But I'll tell you what. Hey, I'll bring the camera over here in a second. But we're looking nice and square here. Yeah. Aside from that one joint that I fucked up trying to do it with a handsaw, I am quite pleased here. This one's sitting just a little proud. Oh, this is the one I fucked up. Man, all the rest of them look great. Let me bring you over here. Yeah, we've been going almost 2 hours here. I mean, the video is going to be shorter than that because I'm going to high speed that sawing, but can I flip it? There we go. Flip it around on the fly. All right, there we go. That is looking really nice and square. Put that right in there. That looks good. You can see those are really close to flush and square right there. Very close, like a little bit of, just a little bit of chisel work. I mean, that's more than precise enough for what I'm doing here. But a little bit of chisel work, I can clean that up a little bit better. I am very happy with that. So these are the under ones. These are the ones that are going to get the wheels. And these are the ones that are going to get the grooves. So the laps that are on the underside are going to be the ones with the wheels pushing up. The laps that are on the upper side are going to be the ones getting the grooves with the weight of the cart pushing down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a groove like along here with the router, and then a dado like that. So we're going to have a groove and a dado. So I'm going to have one sheet here, and a cross sheet for stability. But for now, I am going to vacuum this mess up, and then I'm going to go have dinner because it is 10 past 6. And I'll see you in the next video, okay?